Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to try this one more time. Mrs. Wensley's having some technical difficulties. All right, so the first thing I would like you to do is on the top of your 7.1 notes packet, which all of you should now have, your first page looks like this. First thing I want you to do is put your name on it. And then what I want you to do is write the date. And then write the block. Your block is specific to your class. Remember that. So 7.1, we are working on adjacent and vertical angles. Now we're going to talk about our adjacent angles. Adjacent angles, we talked about a little bit yesterday. This is when two angles share a common side. And have the same vertex. If we look at our example right here, we can see that it has four angles, which we talked about yesterday. When we have two intersecting lines, it makes four angles. Now when we look at those angles, there are a couple sets of adjacent angles. We can look at numbers 1 and 2 and see that 1 and 2 are adjacent. 2 and 4, however, are across from each other, so these are not adjacent. These share this side right here and share the vertex in the middle. They just have rays that go out two different ways. Now we're going to talk about our vertical angles. Vertical angles I also touched on yesterday. Vertical angles are when the two angles are opposite angles formed by the intersection of two lines. These angles do not share sides. They share no sides. So that would be our vertical angles. For congruent angles, this is when the two angles have the same measure. So vertical angles are also congruent angles. Vertical angles are also congruent angles. An example of this. Underneath examples, you'll see that I have blank angles are congruent angles, which I have already said, so hopefully you can fill that in. Vertical angles are congruent angles. We mark angles a little bit differently dependent on their size. So one line, wherever we see one line, that means those two are the same. Two lines, the other one that has two lines is the same as it, which should be straight across, the vertical angle. So here we see that 1 and 3 are vertical angles and 2 and 4 are vertical angles. Now I would like you to flip your page. We're going to practice naming angles. We talked about that a little bit yesterday, but today we're going to write it down and put it on paper. We talked about it during our activities though. Excuse me. So when we name angles, we use 3 capital letters. Notice how in our figure over on the left, They are all capital letters. They're all to name those angles. The middle letter is called the vertex. Also in this figure to the left, we see that angle ABC and angle ABF share a common side. If you're not sure, now would be a good point to pause the video and look them over. Let's continue. If we look them over, we can see that A, B, C, and ABF share this common side of AB. They also have the same vertex, so the two angles are adjacent. In the figure, there are also vertical angles. Angle ABF, oh my gosh. Okay, angle ABF and angle CBD are opposite angles formed by the intersection of two lines. So they are opposite angles formed by the intersection of two lines. And you need to remember that the symbol for angle is that diagonal line with a straight line out. Some of you yesterday thought it was an L. Sometimes it looks like that when it's drawn. See if you can find any other congruent or adjacent angles. Right now I would like you to try some on your own. This on your own section says name two pairs of adjacent angles and two pairs of vertical angles in each figure. Go ahead and pause the video now and give that a shot. Now that you've rejoined us, let's see if we can name a few. Some vertical angles would include V, W, X. So we need that angle sign. Angle, V, W, X, and Z, W, Y. Now if you chose to do Y, W, Z, and X, W, V, that was fine too. They are the same angles. Just remember, order does matter. So when we have the order, if we go X, W, V, we need to go Y, W, Z. So we're going to go Z, W, Y because we went V, W, X. I find that it's easier to just go left to right like we read. Two other vertical angles. Remember, they're the ones that are straight across. So we have this one and we have this one. So now we have two more. We have this angle, we have this angle. Those two angles are angle VWZ and XWY. Now we're looking for adjacent angles. Please remember that your adjacent angles are the ones that have a common side and share a vertex. I'm just going to name one of them. If you have that one and one other, that would be fantastic. So adjacent angles include VWX and YWX. So angle VWX and angle YWX. So we see that VWX and YWX share this vertex W that's in the middle. Your vertex is always in the middle. It's always in the middle of every single one of these. See how these two, they actually shared a vertex as well. So we share a vertex. I guess I'll name one other one because there are 4 in here. So angle XWY and ZWY. Those two are adjacent. Now let's look at problem number 2. Problem number 2 is going to be done the same way. We're looking for a couple of vertical angles. The directions, remember, says name 2 pairs of adjacent and 2 pairs of vertical angles. So you just need 2 pairs of them. You don't need to list all of them. So please don't write all of them. You do not have enough room. I'm going to choose NJM and QJK. That's one pair. Another pair would be PJN. Remember that angle sign, angle PJN, and the angle straight across from there. This one with this one. This one measures the same as this one. So if we have PJN, we should also have KJL. Now adjacent angles, we have NJM, which I already used for one of them, NJM. But now if it's an adjacent, we're going to go LJM. Notice my difference between my angle sign and my L. One other one we could use, we haven't used this one yet, PJQ and KJQ. Okay, now that we've gone over our examples, we're going to flip the page.